Welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast. Here to talk all things hockey are your hosts, Brad Crisco, Ryan Hanna, and Evan Lobsinger.
Asses were shook. Games were won. Hype is up.
Yeah, that was bad. You weren't kidding. That wasn't even like funny bad. That was just bad.
Yeah. You didn't even tell me. You just told me I was opening. I was okay.
To close out 2019, that's our last open.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. This is our last episode of 2019.
It is.
From
a hockey standpoint, this year has sucked.
From a podcast standpoint, this year's been great.
Amazing.
From a hockey bad. Podcast good.
Yeah.
If we had any kind of foresight, we would have asked you guys to tell us your favorite moments of the show. We would have done like a year-end recap.
No, we wouldn't have.
But, we rudely bought houses and had kids. And Evan, what do you do?
With what?
Your life.
I don't know. Go on trips, I guess.
Evan went snowboarding, and so obviously we had a busier fall than we imagined. But here we are in our still slowly being decorated YouTube studio, podcast studio, Podloft. None of you guys have come up with great suggestions.
I liked Octopad.
It sounds like a menstrual product.
The content crib.
The content crib?
The content... I don't know. What's a C word for an elevated room?
Yeah. We're going to work on it. Maybe that's a 2020 goal. Welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast. I'm Ryan Hanna.
I'm Brad Crisco.
And I am Evan. I don't know why my voice sounds awful today.
Oh, you sound normal.
I got like 12 hours of sleep.
You should... First of all...
Oh my God, I laugh so I don't cry.
I hope you die. Truly, I wish ill upon you. Secondly, after last episode... which was a while ago now because we were away for the holiday break, and it was right after the whole Muzzin incident. And so everyone that was anywhere remotely close to Leafs fandom hated us. It was the episode with Evan and I, and we probably received like 5 or 6 different messages praising Evan, like telling us how much they loved hearing from Evan and how great he was, and how they're like, someone said, not that I like when Brad or Ryan are gone, but it means that Evan speaks up more, and it's always such a treat. I wish he was always that engaged. And I went, I'll pass that along.
We'll see what we can do in 2020.
Oh man, that was a hell of an episode to kind of wrap up before the holiday break. I'm so glad the holiday break came after that, because what a headache that whole situation was.
Yeah. Busy time on the social media.
That was a rough life. But we made it. I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. I hope everyone had a happy holiday so far. Not quite New Year's yet, but we promise that we're not going to do the New Year Same Team episode title this year.
So you think.
What would that be, like 6 for us?
Every year since the podcast has started.
This is our 3rd straight episode recording at 9 a.m. Just because that's what we've had to do to make it work. So that's why we all sound like this. So forgive our disorganization, but we are going to, this episode of the Winged Wheel Podcast, be talking about the World Juniors, because there's specific Red Wings / hockey world relevant things. Talk about the Red Wings and then a few other quick hits before heading into overtime. Before I get started, I'd like to thank some sponsors of this episode. First of all, RD Woodworking, who are making our custom podcast table, which is in the works. We've put out some tweets. We've put out some posts on Instagram about it with some renders. Go check it out. It honestly looks incredible. I'm so excited for you guys to see it. That's RD Woodworking. Head over to rdwoodworking.ca, or if you go to Instagram, RD_woodworking, and give them a follow to say thank you for supporting the show. And we'd also like to thank Everett, who has been sponsoring some giveaways, basically just wants to make sure that Red Wings fans are having a good time. And we've been working with him, and it's been really, really great working with Everett. So at Born to Dan Hard on Twitter or Instagram. There's currently an Instagram giveaway going on for this Saturday, January 18th game against the Florida Panthers. For 1 ticket to that game, Lower Bowl, the seat is visible on TV, so you can bring a sign. a dub flag, if you will. This is an Instagram giveaway, so all the participation happens on Instagram. Super easy to enter, unlimited entries. Patrons are automatically entered, so go check that out. So thank you to our 2 sponsors there. All right, World Juniors. Do we need anything else in our lives after seeing Mo Seider happily sing "Shake That Ass" while walking onto the ice?
That was the happiest I was in 2019. And I had a son.
You saved that joke for a while, and that was a good delivery. That was a good use of that one joke.
It had to be good. It was a literal one-time use.
So Mo Seider obviously loves Detroit, loves Eminem. And fun fact, he was actually singing that song after seeing the Dylan Larkin hockey butt commercial.
Yes.
Yeah, some people were like, delete this when I posted that yesterday. That was the purest thing we've ever seen. And that's pretty much the highlight of the whole tournament. Nothing else happened. Yep. You don't have to worry about it. So that's the World Juniors.
Well, after pumping himself up by singing "Shake That Ass" for me, he proceeded to go out as captain of the Germans, record 3 assists, and win a hockey game for Germany in the World Juniors. It's a big moment for them.
4 assists in 2 games for Mo Seider.
He's raise your hand if out of all Red Wings participating in the World Juniors, you'd have Mo Seider leading in points at this point.
And what's he averaging? Like 26 minutes of time on ice per game?
Yes. Nobody else on Germany, I think, registered north of 20 last game.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and say the World Juniors are even a good or like a great or even good tool to evaluate prospects because it's such a small window, right? It's a couple weeks or a week and a half even. And they're playing against other juniors. They're not playing against men. The competition, it's good competition, but it's such a flash in the pan. But, oh man, if you're a Red Wings fan like us, who weren't thrilled about the Seider pick or were confused about it to start, what a great little bit of validation this has been because he looks amazing.
He looks so much better than Bowen Byram right now. Yeah. Bowen Byram does not look good, and this pick is being validated very quickly.
It is so... I mean, they're different ages. Right? No, same age.
No, they're the same age. They're only 2 picks apart. They're basically the same player, except Byram's not as good.
Exactly.
Ooh, we're slowly sliding into our next provocative take here.
Oh, no. They're Avs fans. We're supposed to piss them off.
Yeah, exactly.
This is how this works.
Just like Habs fans with Kotkaniemi.
And also, I'm going to disagree with you that this is a very small sample size, but it should absolutely be overanalyzed. And this is why the Red Wings did not give Larkin the C. They're just waiting on Seider.
Well, he was the first Red Wing to be named captain this year, so
there you go.
There is that. No, he looks absolutely incredible in every facet of the game. His defensive play obviously looks very improved playing against, juniors instead of professional men in the AHL. So it's nice to see that once the competition is a little bit more fair, or at his level, I should say, his defensive play gets stepped up. He's logging 26 minutes a game. Like, what else do you need to say, like, this guy's our number 1 defenseman?
Well, it's only 2 games in, but there's been a lot of games between all the teams. You can pretty comfortably say he's been the best defenseman in the tournament so far.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of hockey to be played in the tournament.
For sure.
They change very, very fast. But I'd be the only thing that's driving me nuts about the retrospective on the draft and where we picked him is that one of the other players who's having a shining World Juniors right now is Trevor Zegras.
Oh, yeah.
So it hasn't made me
He played like 10 minutes and had 5 points in, I think, US's first game.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, come on. Can you just let us have this?
Look, I'm past the point. Like, at no point actually were we ever mad at Seider. Like, we're not those kind of stupid fans who are just get belligerent and get mad at players. But Zegras was he was one of our top picks. Like, I think we were muttering, please be Zegras before the draft. The silver lining here is it is what it is. Seider hasn't been bad. Like, it's been a super satisfying pick. And it's kind of validating to know that Zegras is turning out well so far. Because that means we're doing some things right.
Well, think about it like this. Right-handed, smooth skating, powerful defensemen don't grow on trees. We could find another Seider in the draft or through free agency or however.
You mean Zegras?
Yeah, whoever. Yeah. Who did I say?
You said cider.
Yeah, you know what I meant. It's
sip that coffee.
I'm halfway through that coffee, so things will come together eventually.
Yeah. He put Bailey's in that. I'm not kidding. He went into my fridge and found the big bottle of Bailey's in there. He's like, "Oh, sweet, you have Bailey's." I was like, "It's 9 a.m.
I can't wean myself off yet. It's still the holidays.
I'm afraid the collective hangover.
Shakes on Thursday next week when I go back to work. We can find a Zegras eventually at some point. Like his player type is more common than a Seider. So, was I happy that we picked Seider at 6? I would certainly say I wasn't. I basically turned the draft off as I was listening dockside. But I'm very happy he's proved me wrong.
No, yeah.
Up to this point.
Yeah, he's been excellent. His transition game has been amazing. I just always love watching him skate.
He is so strong for a kid his age.
Oh my God.
Yesterday he's
a monster.
He chopped somebody 2 hands right across the hips and they went flying. I've never seen a human go that far.
He's an excellent passer, and because it's juniors, they don't have their gap control or their positioning quite set out, and it's just this crazy all offense tournament. So they don't really care about suppressing shots or anything. So they just give him all the space in the world, and he makes them pay. Like the way he delivers passes, the way he skates and moves the puck in transition.
It's been a real treat to watch him against other top tier talents so far.
Yeah. And, it's the juniors. He's playing against other juniors. So this isn't a declaration that he's the best pick available. Like he's the best prospect out there right now. But
I mean, it's another measuring stick.
It's another measuring stick. And one of the biggest things about Seider was he'd already been playing against men in Germany, and he's already such a big frame that he was more NHL ready than other guys. And he is proving it right now. I want to see this kid in the Red Wings uniform this year.
For less than 9 games.
You don't want to burn his ELC?
Not yet. I think it's a different animal with defensemen than it is forwards, just because Mo's not going to be a big point producer, so I don't think we're going to have to worry about that second contract being like $10 million like we might with, superstars if we draft a Lafreniere or a Byfield or whoever. Mm-hmm. With defensemen, it takes them so long in the NHL to really know what they are. You probably want as big of a sample as you can get to make an accurate assessment of what type of contract you should be handing out. Because as good as Mo Seider is, and as much as I firmly believe Mo Seider should play 82 games for the Red Wings next year, that 82 games next year probably won't give us a very good gauge as to what Mo Seider is going to be 5, 10, 15 years from now. So
no, but who is probably the most trustworthy assessment of talent that the Red Wings have had in the past 15 years? Steve Yzerman and Pat Verbeek. They did an excellent job with the contracts out in Tampa Bay. It wasn't perfect left, right, and center. I mean, they still had the Dan Girardis and the what have yous that some people disagreed with. But I'm not... That worry of, we're going to sign this guy and we're going to sign him for too much is essentially gone now that Ken Holland is gone. So
I wouldn't say it's gone, but
every team has bad contracts.
Every team has bad contracts. Only the Red Wings have the atrocious contracts that they do. I've already said it on past episodes, so I don't want to hammer home too much. But thank you, Ken Holland, for this lasting legacy. God damn it.
Yeah, I don't think
sorry, go ahead.
I don't think the Seider contract is. His play style isn't that type that gets you a little bit worried, where he's like a power forward who had 2 good years or 1 good year because they played with Hall of Fame caliber players.
Yeah.
I think he is very much suited to the long-term steady Eddie type play.
If it wasn't for Ken Holland, though, we wouldn't have got Mo Seider.
That's true.
Yeah, we had to finish very near the bottom to get him.
Well, and you know what? Credit to the Tyler Wright draft group. It seems like everyone in the Red Wings organization was big on Seider. But Yzerman took looks at him, of course, as he was able to. We found out that he was scouting him even when he was still with Tampa Bay, technically. But the Tyler Wright draft group is the group that took Mo Seider. So
that's a big boy pick. That was considered off the board. That's a big boy pick. If he turns into an everyday NHLer, that's a big boy play.
If Mo Seider wins a Norris Trophy, Tyler Wright gets no slander for the rest of his career. That's a galaxy brain move right there.
Yeah, it's one thing to draft these guys in the 4th round, 5th round, and they become, incredible players. It's another thing to take your 6th overall pick and pick someone 2, 3, 4 times higher than what was projected.
Okay, here's my thing. I think in terms of development into a regular NHLer, he has above average probability of doing that. It's not a certainty. I don't think anyone's a certainty, and we've been hurt before, right? I'll call him above average to even like a probable shot at panning out to 75% of his potential. I trust that will happen, and so if you burn his ELC, he finishes that entry-level contract a year sooner, you get him signed to his first post-ELC deal or his second contract sooner, and you know that defensemen take longer to develop. You're right, Mo Seider's not going to be out there putting up 100 points like Erik Karlsson, but this kid could still be a star. He could be an absolute star, and star power means something in this league. And so if you get him down on that next contract before his development really launches, you save some money. The Red Wings aren't going to be competitive in his ELC, plain and simple. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to be pushing for the cup in those years. They might have a playoff year towards the end. Maybe. We'll see. It depends on what happens over the next couple seasons. But they're not going to be bona fide cup contenders like a Boston or a Toronto or Tampa or, whoever the lucky winner is in the West any given year. But his next contract after that is probably what they're projecting for. And if you can start that sooner and have that be cheaper, that is X amount of dollars more room to work with that cap.
I certainly don't think we'll live and die by the dollar amount we give Seider.
No, the cap space, thank goodness, isn't an issue right now. And you know what? Yzerman's been doing that thing where he sends Zadina down every waking moment he has the chance just to get that cap accrual. So just in case something funky happens at the trade deadline.
Is that why he's doing it? Why Zadina was down for 3 days this week?
Yeah, it's
and what was it? Not even 24 hours a week before.
No one's coming out and saying it, but that's pretty much the only thing that fits at this point. It's just paper moves. It's just for that incremental cap accrual. It's super complicated with the contract or with the CBA, how that works with LTIR and used headspace with long-term IR. It's hard to figure out. But essentially he is just trying to accrue as much cap space as possible in case he takes on a huge contract at the trade deadline or something.
That's what I was going to say. We'll get back to the World Juniors. But yeah, the only two things that would make sense is if he's big game hunting before the deadline or he's going to take on as much dead money as possible to get assets. There's no other reason that he would have it to even bother with this.
No.
We'll take one David Clarkson.
Is he still being paid?
Isn't he back in Toronto?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, and a lot of people said you don't take the Marlows or you don't worry about getting that first round pick from San Jose because it's what's it really worth. San Jose is the third best lottery odds right now, so that means Ottawa does.
How the turntables?
Toronto's technically in a second divisional seed right now, but the teams behind them in the Atlantic have enough games in hand to pass them, which would put Toronto out of a playoff spot. They don't own their first round pick. By the way, when we were doing that tankathon a couple episodes ago, online wasn't showing that the Toronto's pick was lottery protected. Yeah. Thank you to everyone who pointed that out. So yeah, you go and you take these gambles. You take on a Marleau for a year. You take on whoever. Honestly, if I was Yzerman, I would have got Marleau and not bought him out. Forget buying him out. Just pay him out for the year. Yeah. If he wants to not report, let him terminate the contract.
He couldn't be any... He'd be on the second line in Detroit right now, for being honest.
He actually would. I think Marleau would have had a great time here this year. It wouldn't have been, I don't know if he would love to have lived there, but it's would have been a good situation for him.
Yeah, he'd have played a lot.
Yeah. And
maybe that's what he doesn't want. He's like, what team has a lot of bolt-on veterans that I can just, milk 5 minutes a game and make $6 million?
Welcome back to San Jose.
Yeah. He comes back. He goes, at least we're not going to be playing playoff hockey. We're how far down? Oh, boy.
Should have just signed in Detroit.
Yeah, legitimately.
Detroit's 9 points clear of second last right now?
Yeah.
The nice thing, we are so far down in this tank right now that I actually don't care if the Red Wings win or lose a game anymore. I can cheer for a win because I know it doesn't matter.
9 points clear with 2 games in hand, air quotations. New Jersey has 2 games in hand on them. So that could be 13 points clear.
This is
we're going to get relegated.
Maybe.
We might.
The Germans might take our place.
The winner of the World Juniors, that country now represents the last place spot in the NHL.
Okay, before we get into the lowly Red Wings.
Could Alabama beat the Red Wings?
Yes.
My column.
Yes. A lot more happened in the World Juniors than Moritz Seider. Canada. Lafreniere. Oh, no.
Bad. I felt legitimately sick watching that.
My butt cheeks have never been so tight.
First of all, no, I'm not going to say it. It's too early for that. Lafreniere ran into the goalie. We'll talk about the details of the play in a second, but he was screaming and writhing in pain.
Gotta love when they're like, oh, like the injury happened, and then they do the slow-mo. They're like, you can tell right here, and it's like his leg is like perpendicular to the other bone, and it's just like, oh God.
It's the Ralph Wiggum. You can pinpoint when his heart breaks.
Yeah, no, he was in some distress, and that was not. It was uncomfortable to watch. You don't like to see any player that hurt, obviously. But you just watch all of the hockey world go, no.
I know this is going to sound hyperbolic, but would be like if Connor McDavid was in the tournament and got hurt, or Sidney Crosby at the time got hurt.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah. And for Canada, who's one of the favorites to win gold, and he is arguably their best player.
Yeah.
And he's not even drafted yet. Like, Canada shouldn't have beat the States. Lafreniere beat the States.
He's been the best player on that team by miles.
He beat the States on his own. He was on a whole other level in that game. Mm-hmm. Watching that game, everyone's consensus was, oh yeah, Byfield's good, but no, Lafreniere's going first overall. Lafreniere's going super first overall. Is that a possibility? Can he go double first overall? That's what he's going to be.
Yes, and everybody finally realized, I know I've been saying it for a month or so now here, but the Lafreniere versus Byfield for 1 overall is nonsense. Byfield's an amazing player, and he's a clear-cut number 2, but Lafreniere's number 1, and it's not up for debate.
No, yeah.
Not in my mind. Not yet. Not up for debate. I'll happily have the debate and prove why everybody else is wrong.
If Byfield comes out the rest of the tournament and gets 2 goals a game, we can open the conversation again a little bit. Yeah. But Lafreniere showed against the U.S. that he is a game breaker.
Yeah, and it's not fair to compare apples to apples, Lafreniere to Byfield in this one tournament, because Lafreniere is almost a full calendar year older.
Oh, yeah.
So that is absolutely worth mentioning, but it's the way Lafreniere plays. The assist he had on the second goal to Barrett Hayton, where Veleno dropped him the puck on the half wall, and then there was just a sea of Americans between him and the net, and he saw a lane that nobody else saw, and
that was
stepped through it and made the pass through traffic. That's not a play 99.9% of professional hockey players can even see, let alone make. Though when people ask us in overtime and whatnot on these podcasts, how do you determine the difference between a good player and a great player, and how do you compare different styles of players like Lafreniere and Byfield? It's stuff like that. Byfield doesn't see that. Byfield can't do that. It's not the skill set. Who's the faster skater between Lafreniere and Byfield? It's Byfield. Who has the better shot? It's probably Byfield. Lafreniere's probably got better hands. Physicality, Byfield's way bigger. Byfield can't do that.
No.
Byfield doesn't see that. And Byfield is still the clear-cut second best player in this draft. That's how good Lafreniere is.
Just if you want a very simple example of how Lafreniere sees the game, like that goal, the 5-4 goal against the States is there are some more nuance, and I would even hazard I guess and say there's some more impressive examples. But if you want an example you can show to someone who doesn't watch hockey, the way he attacked those defenders and the way he positioned himself to intercept that pass, and then the ability to knock down that pass like he did, that's a good enough first touch to play for the Canadian national soccer team.
Like I said, he had a 30-minute highlight video of his points in October, and it was 45 points. I'll just show you that.
Yeah.
This guy's really good. Yes, his video is 30 minutes long, and it's just 1 month of the season.
So my dad is a huge hockey fan, huge Red Wings fan. He's who got me and my brother into hockey. Knows the game super well. But, as me and my brother don't live at home anymore. We don't watch as much hockey. My dad isn't as in touch with the details of the game. Who is the next upcoming prospect? He just doesn't he doesn't always know it. He knows the game super well. And I was telling him, we were watching the Canada-US game, and I was like, oh, there's like the number 1 and number 2 overall pick both played for Canada. And then within like 5 minutes, my dad goes, is that him? Is that the number 1? And it was Lafreniere. I was like, yep. He goes, oh yeah, you can tell.
Yeah.
Like within his first couple shifts, my dad was like, oh yeah, that's him.
That's him. That's the guy. Yeah. And the latest update on Lafreniere as of this morning on Twitter was that he's not practicing today with Canada. He was at practice, and he was not in a walking boot and not on crutches.
So he's walking.
So it's probably not too serious. And he has had kind of a nagging ankle injury all year anyway. So he might have just aggravated that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I only play one on TV. But it's probably looking like best case given what happened.
I legitimately thought this might have altered his career. That was my worry. That's why I was so sick watching it, because that kind of pain, you never want that to be like a devastating like knee injury where it's like his ACL and his meniscus or something stupid like that. So for people to be speculating, like Frank Saravalli said, he's not even ruled out for the tournament yet. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, we're good then.
We can breathe. I don't think I'll be shocked if he plays again this tournament, because I don't know if Canada will make it far enough for him to be recovering.
Well, they're tied for first right now. And last.
We have to beat the Czech and the Germans, which I think is probably capable.
You really think Canada's going to beat Mo Seider?
Yes.
Mo Seider is going to dunk on Canada, and Red Wings fans are going to have, like American Red Wings fans, so almost all Red Wings fans are going to have a field day. And you know what? Fair play.
I cannot wait to see how Red Wings fans feel the first time in that game Joe Veleno comes up the wing with the puck and Mo Seider's the defenseman ahead of him. It's like, oh, please, just go the other way.
What do we do?
Be nice to each other.
I dump it into the corner. Pass it, Joe.
The other corner.
Offsides, whatever. Joe Veleno looked great in the first game. I'd say he was probably Canada's like second or third best player.
He played like half the game almost.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Canada's leaning on him very heavily. He's now going to be playing on a line with Quentin Byfield based on practice this morning. So, Eisenman's getting a good look at, potential future first lines for the Red Wings. But, him and McIsaac were, well, okay. Veleno wasn't great in the second game, and McIsaac was a train wreck.
Yeah, that makes me nervous.
I think the whole team was a train wreck in this. It
was. McIsaac was solely responsible for the first goal.
Yeah.
That was one of the worst passes I've seen in the World Juniors. But it happens. He's a defenseman. He's only been back for, less than a month from his shoulder surgery?
That's where it's at for me.
Yeah.
When I haven't played hockey for a long time. Let me tell you how bad I am when I come back. Especially as a defenseman. As a defenseman, if your mental game is off, you're having a bad game. It does not matter. As a forward, you can have a bad mental game and still, have a highlight reel goal or do a couple things right. If you're a prominent defenseman on your team and you're in the wrong headspace, you are going to be exposed, my friend. And that's, I think, what happened here.
I'm a forward. I've only been off for 2 months, and I'm nervous how bad I'm going to look when I come back.
You're going to look like Brad Crisco out there.
Oh, God, that's terrible.
Evan once said that. It's like, I looked like Brad out there.
Yeah, probably.
No, McIsaac, I thought, had a decent game. He wasn't perfect. He made some mistakes in the first game, but also did some really great things. But Veleno, I think, had an excellent first game. Was very obviously Canada's number 1 center. In the second game, the whole team looked bad. So I don't know what to make of that, left or right. It kind of sounds like we're just saying when it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's not their fault. But so far, yeah, that's what we'll go with.
Yeah.
Any other Canadian Red Wings players on teams?
Jonathan Berggren has 2 assists through 2 games with Sweden. And he almost scored the goal of the tournament.
Yes.
Where he went inside, outside, pulled the puck through the defenseman, and then decided to pull a tweener and just missed the net.
That's how I tie my shoes.
Berggren looks amazing. That's the kind of stuff you want to see from Berggren. We've been seeing a lot of Niels Höglander this tournament for good reason. And to see Berggren do the same thing is exciting because the Red Wings drafted him with much the same thing in mind. With this guy has a ton of talent. It's just about putting it all together. But if he does, he could be a first round talent. So to see Berggren join Höglander and doing that, and to come back from his year off of hockey last year with his back surgery, more promising news for Red Wings fans. Niels Höglander is making everybody who passed on him and then pass on him again looks stupid. It's not surprising.
He's making the lacrosse goal. Him and Svechnikov are making the lacrosse goal boring.
They're making it a problem.
It's not even a highlight anymore.
No.
Yeah, it's like, oh, they did it again. Well, okay.
I know the valid arguments to that goal. Like, we're doing it until something bad happens, and people are like, and it's indefensible. I'm like, you want scoring to increase?
Nothing bad is going to happen on that play. The goalies wear a mask that's designed to take 100-mile-an-hour slap shots. A stick traveling at like 30 kilometers ahead is not going to do.
What if the blade shatters?
It's a composite stick. It won't.
What about just even throwing the ice and snow into their eyes? That sucks.
Nothing like little pocket sand.
Has there been a professional goalie who's made it through an entire game without getting snowed at least once?
I mean, we've seen more NHL players get hit in the head with slap shots this year.
Shea Weber is a thing that exists in the NHL, and we're worried about sticks hitting the face mask.
Look, for the record, I agree with you. I think it's great if this is some like cheat code that if you can pull it off, it's going to work a ton until people learn. I think that's how you get scoring to increase. Make players be creative in how to put the puck in the net. They found something that's not blocked off by the rules. I don't see how it's really hurting anyone. Hell yeah, I love it.
The only way it's going to ever happen is if goalies just stand up while coming across the crease. So, buddy, instead of trying to wrap it in the top corner, tries to wrap it through the 5-hole and just accidentally hits the goalie in the dick. That's the only way someone's getting legitimately hurt on this.
Little love tap.
Yeah, it's a little wake me up. Hoaglander's version of it is the most impressive.
That one in this tournament is the best one.
Yeah, it's freaky.
I'll fight anybody.
Hoaglander's version, last one where he pulled with his club team in Sweden, was the best one.
That was
because he banked it off the back of the net around the defenseman, picked it up as the defenseman was reaching for it, dragged it around him in a one motion through to the top corner.
This one was at full speed. That's why I think this one was more impressive because I can't even do it standing still.
Matthews tried it against Detroit that game, but the puck skipped on him. Thank God I would not have been able to deal with that highlight.
Veleno tried it yesterday.
Did he actually?
Yeah, he didn't get it up, but he tried.
We've all been there.
We've
all been there.
Other Red Wings in the tournament.
That's it.
Future Red Wing Tim Stützle looks really good.
Yeah, for when we pick 4th overall. God.
I would be okay with that.
I'd be very okay with Stützle. Stoitzel? Have we got clarification on that?
I've
heard both.
It's not Stoitzel. I've heard Stützle and I've heard Stützle.
It's Stützle then because I'm not overthinking this. So
people have sent us the media that we need to learn it, and I have yet to watch it because of
nobody sent me that yet. But anyway, Stützle at 4, I'd be very okay with. I'd be okay with Askarov at 4. Holtz has a overtime goal in this tournament. I'd be okay with him at 4.
Raymond Holtz.
Yeah.
Imagine if we trade up to get pick 3 and 4, and we get Lucas Raymond and Alex Holtz. We could actually get Raymond Holtz. The Terror Twins. I'd be okay with it.
Eisman goes, yeah, there's other picks on the board, but I just really like...
I'm a big fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah. How's Jesper Eliasson been?
I don't think he's played.
No.
And if he has, I haven't heard a damn thing, so it's probably a good thing.
As we record this, the Finns are currently up 3-1 on the Czechs, and Canada, or in USA and Russia are going to be playing at...
How are the Finns playing the Czechs?
Sorry, not the Czechs, the Kazakhstan.
Oh, Kazakhstan keeping it close. Good for them.
The greatest nation. Number 1 exporter of potassium.
They are, actually. Well, yeah, they're back now. US and Russia are on at 1. So by the time you're listening to this, more updates will probably have come out about the Lafreniere injury, so please bear with us as we just had our base of speculation. All right, the Red Wings. Do we have anything else for the World Juniors?
No.
The Red Wings, they played their first game in 6 days. That was both a well-deserved break for fans and team alike. But it was also nice to see them play hockey again. And man, for the first 30 minutes of that game, they looked stunning.
That was, wow. Part of me, I knew I was wrong thinking it.
Yeah.
But part of me was going, maybe they just needed a break. Maybe that's all they needed.
Oh, no.
No, right. They're still terrible. They reminded me quick because they were out. They had 17 shots in the first period.
Yeah.
They've not had that through full games this season or very close to that.
It's like beer league where you haven't played in a while. You're all excited and you get out there and you're just buzzing around. And then 5 minutes later, you're like, oh yeah, I'm not athletic.
Yeah.
I can't breathe at all. Where's the gas?
It's not me who's good. It's the other team who's just rusty.
Yeah.
And then Florida reminded us that they have a Barkov and they have a Huberdeau and they have all these players. And
yes, and with Toninato scoring the winning goal.
of course.
Of course.
That's what we all predicted.
Yes, Franz Nielsen with a short-handed toe drag beauty.
Who was in net last night?
For the Red Wings?
For Florida.
Drieger.
Yeah, he has a terrible glove hand. Because these were nice shots, but a good goalie should have saved both of these.
And anything that goes across your body should not go in. So a lefty going high glove isn't great.
Yeah. Darren Helm and
technically Larkins also went there, but that one was a little more excusable.
Yeah. Darren Helm and Franz Nielsen both had amazing snipes from essentially the same spot in the ice, I believe. Well,
close enough.
Nielsen cut in a little bit, but yeah. We'll talk about Helm's goal first. Helm scored on a breakaway, so he continues to shatter our minds a couple times this year.
The real play on that goal, though.
Oh, that silky pass from Zadina. Just that deft touch. Just a little chef's kiss.
You like when you saw Helm going to, my first reaction when Zadina got that puck was just give it to him. He can burn the defenseman wide. Like, why are you waiting? And then I remembered why they're NHL players and I suck.
He was just waiting for him to get the step on him because he's like, I know I'm going to saucer it over the defender's stick. That's not going to be a problem. Yeah. And it landed like he airdropped that.
And he remembered it's Darren Helm. He's not beating anybody one-on-one with the puck.
No.
So we have to give him the free lane.
And Helm, to his credit, finished. Another point for Zadina. Franz Nielsen.
Up to 9 points in 14 games now. Can we talk about Zadina quick?
Yeah. Yeah.
I like Philip Zadina. I still haven't seen him successfully create his own offense out there in a sense. Like he's not.
I don't think we'll see a terribly high amount of that.
No, and I'm beginning to get a little concerned about that. But everything else about his game looks fantastic. When given the opportunities and all that, he's capitalizing on just about everything in some capacity because he played fantastic last night.
I don't think he's going to be like a do-it-all, like center of everything line driver. But I also don't think that means he's completely dependent on the people around him. I mean, he gave Darren Helm...
dependent's not the right word, but creating your own offense seems like it's a struggle for him.
But isn't that inherently a struggle for most players? Like, don't most players...
Well, it's hard. That's why it's the NHL, right?
Yeah, but if the team has more than 2 or 3 pure line drivers, then that's a great hockey team.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And it's especially harder. It's harder to do that from the wing. I mean, it's hardest to do that if you're a defenseman.
It's also hard to do it on this team.
Yes.
Yeah. The very optimistic view of this is Zadina is still capitalizing when playing on lines with guys like Darren Helm. Imagine if we get a Lafreniere or Veleno pans out, or they put him with Larkin for any irregularity. The possibilities.
Yeah. This guy's learning to ride his bike through mud right now.
Yeah.
It's like the Stonecutters. He has the rock of shame or whatever, and he's dragging that right now.
Yeah. Oh man, Simpsons memes have been off the charts lately. Ever since Disney Plus.
Is it on Disney Plus?
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't know. You haven't given me the password to watch The Mandalorian yet.
Oh man, Mandalorian first season just ended, so you can watch now.
Perfect. I can binge it.
Yeah, it's good. No, I'm not going to say he'll turn into a line driver, Brad. I think we might still have more untapped. We definitely still have untapped potential. The guy's 20 years old. He's 20, right?
Yes.
There's still more potential there. His headroom is still plentiful. But I think we might see him grow into a little bit more of a playmaker just once you give him something to work with. It's been such a limited look. I think he's been great. I think this has been such a great stint, such a great year for him. It's exactly what we would have wanted to see. He just looks more comfortable. Like the plays he's making, he does not make last year because he was gripping a stick too tight. He was overthinking things. He made Darren Helm a breakaway goal scorer. He deserves a medal just for that.
It really couldn't go much better given all of the circumstances surrounding this team.
Yeah. Considering he's getting 12 to 14 minutes a night.
Yes.
I'm happy.
Which maybe actually is good for him.
Yeah. And you know what? Like this guy's not going to come out and do what Sidney Crosby did and score 100 points in his rookie season. And some people are well, you know what? You say that. But half the Twitter mentions about Zadina are, well, he's not a 50 goal scorer, so let's move him now.
He only has half a point pace as a 20-year-old.
He's over that. 9 and 14.
Carry the one.
I think people just really forget how hard it is to find a superstar in the NHL.
People just love to complain.
Truly.
And I can say that because I'm one of those people.
Yeah, of course. Master complainers over here.
That's all my Twitter feed is.
If you guys want a draft pick to really super be down on that, you know, you have a right to be this skeptical about, move that to Rasmussen, man. Like, don't get me wrong. That guy's still only 20 years old.
Yeah, he's the same age as Zadina.
But, you know, that's a guy who's actually not doing as much as we would have hoped that he'd be doing by this age. Again, don't go and trash the kid. It's not a personal attack, and don't go calling him a bust already. But that's one that's actually projecting and looking like not looking like the perfect pick at that spot.
If this is a game of horse, we've written the B. Mm-hmm. He's gotten a B.
Yeah.
And not the grade. Just the B, where the U is starting. Do you get it, Brad?
Yes, okay, I get it.
Good. You looked at me like there was more, and I was like, there's not.
Do you know how many people are going to be tweeting at you asking you to explain?
I won't answer them anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, like Zadina's been good. That's my whole point. Rest of the game, you know, the Red Wings scored 2 goals in 38 seconds, which was amazing. They took a lead, and then they remembered they were the Red Wings, and there was a collapse, and they lost 5-3, 4-3?
5-4. They got an empty. They scored with the net empty.
Robbie Fabry with a great save.
Yeah,
that was actually really excellent.
Here we've solved the goaltending problems. I think Hronek had another point too.
Hronek was in on the Nielsen goal, I believe.
No,
Who was the net last
Glenn
night?
Denning goal. He rattled it off the post.
Who was the net last night?
For Red Wings? Howard.
Yeah.
Oh.
Howard gave up the traditional 5.
As is tradition.
Yeah.
Philip Hronek's outscoring Andreas Athanasiou for whatever that's worth.
What's that?
Philip Hronek's outscoring Andreas Athanasiou for whatever that's worth.
He's a half point per game player over his career.
Yeah, right? He's 20 and 37 this season. That's insane for how bad this team is.
Considering our offense can't create offense, it's nice to see our defense.
Hronek's going to be
creating
our all-star selection, right?
Yes.
Yeah, given that
there's no forwards on this team who can make it.
It should be Mantha, despite the injuries, but we're in the Atlantic Division, where it might be the most forward-heavy division in the NHL. So he's not getting a forward spot in the Red Wings are not getting a forward spot in the All-Star game. They're definitely not getting a goalie spot. So it should be Hronek. It probably should be Hronek anyway, honestly.
Mantha and Bertuzzi would give them.
I wouldn't even give it to Bertuzzi. It's Mantha. It's Mantha or Hronek. Those are the only two like legitimate candidates in my mind.
You could stock the entire Eastern Conference All-Star team with just Maple Leafs forwards. Like,
pretty much.
It is such a stacked
Boston.
Division. Yeah. I think
Tampa.
It'll have to be Hronek then.
And Florida.
And Florida. And Eichel and Buffalo.
Yeah.
Comrie. Eric
Comrie
in Winnipeg was placed on waivers. The Red Wings both technically have first dibs and
rights to him back.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter. He's theirs if they want him back.
So again, this is something we're recording before it comes out. Like, this is literally 2 hours before waivers get processed. So the news will be known. So check Twitter at Winged Wheel Pod and then go to the bio and follow all of us.
How long is Bernier out? Do they know?
Nah, he might be playing tonight.
Oh, okay. Need him then, I guess.
So here's the quick opinion on if it goes either way. If the Red Wings don't claim Comrie, it means they just didn't like him, didn't think he was a good goalie. If they do, this was just a galaxy brain move by Yzerman, because if no other team puts in a claim for Comrie, then they can send him down to Grand Rapids.
Yes. He does not have to go through waivers if no other team puts in a claim. So again, this was part of all the cost assessment. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say Yzerman predicted he'd be back on waivers. I'm not even going to say Yzerman's going to take him back. One would presume that Yzerman would want him back. He probably didn't want to lose him to waivers, especially just to put him down in Grand Rapids. If he gets him back and someone else puts him a claim in for him and he has to technically clear waivers again, he'll probably just put him on waivers again.
Probably.
That poor guy, his air miles.
Yeah, this seems like a D-bag move by Winnipeg to claim him just to send him down again. Like, seriously, was Brossoit hurt and I just missed it?
They've had their injury troubles, but they're also like, they're at that roster cap and they have that, what's that problem? What do you call it? When you have a good team, and you have a lot of good players that you don't want to give up.
I don't even know what that is. It's been a long time since I've had to use that word.
Man, when I started watching the World Juniors, I was like, oh wow.
Look at those fourth lines.
Like, I feel like we can win this.
Those are some teams' best prospects that they have.
God. So we'll see what comes of that. We'll chat more about the results if there are any on next episode. The All-Star game, Ovechkin has already told everyone that he's planning on sitting out. 34 years old, wants to take his maintenance, break, because All-Star weekend is a week break or something like that. Turns out to be just under. Who knows?
I'm surprised more players don't do this. Well, then they're like, we'll suspend you a game. He's like, so I get a longer break, which is why I'm not going. They're like, yes. He's like, okay.
Yeah, more rest.
Thank you.
Yeah. We'll perpetually hate this rule because of the year where they suspended Pavel Datsyuk and Nicholas Lidstrom a game, and not Crosby that year, even though he did the same thing.
No, he was hurt.
So were Lidstrom and Datsyuk.
He had a mystery injury.
Yeah. Oh man, it made me so mad. Here's my thing. I understand the league wanting to make them
it's big
take
bucks.
part in
it's a Bucks thing.
You have to advertise the game. The issue is make the All-Star game a better venue or a better medium to advertise the game, or don't suspend them.
Where is the All-Star game this year?
This is how much people care about the All-Star game.
I haven't watched one since John Scott was in it.
The All-Star game is broken, needs to be fixed. If it got done away with, I wouldn't miss it.
It's stale. It's very, very stale.
It's a moneymaker for the NHL still, though. They sell tickets, they get revenue, so they're never going to get rid of it. But yeah, something needs to be done. Like, everybody ridiculed the MLB when they said winner of the All-Star game gets home field at the World Series, but at least it made the game mean something.
St. Louis. It's in St. Louis. Let's have Merrick.
Oh, you mean the team that just won the cup? We need to advertise in that city? That hockey good?
Yeah, why put it in a brand new arena and a team that's struggling to fill the building right now? Weird.
Well, develop the land around it. Christ, it's all empty lots still. Drives me nuts.
Perfect.
If it's a thing about... I hate the NHL's, you need to market the game. Then do it outside of North America.
How?
Take a week off.
What, do you think there's some sort of premier event where the entire world pays attention?
Do you think we can take 2 weeks off?
Exists?
Yeah. I hate when they say, we're marketing the game. That is the biggest BS statement of all time. Yeah, we're going to have it in Toronto. And we're going to market the game. Oh, really?
The All-Star game markets the game where it's a hockey game so bad, even hockey fans don't watch. So do you think baseball fans are going to tune in?
No.
You might. What are you going to get? 4 people in St. Louis to start watching this. They forgot the Blues won the cup and they were just down the street. Oh, sure. This looks fun.
Yeah, it's dumb. They need to, either put it offshore, put it in Hawaii. Fuck it. Who cares? Or change the format where fans vote in who they want Connor McDavid to go against in fastest skater. Or if so-and-so is going to be the hardest shot winner. Jonathan Ericsson skates out and he challenges Shea Weber.
And then
something. Just change up something.
We have to have Merrick back on to talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah. You guys go tweet at Merrick to tell him we have to have him back on the Winged Pod to talk about All-Star game ideas.
Or they bring in the average Joe and he has to do the fastest skater after Connor McDavid has lapped him twice.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Brad's dream.
Hardest shot, Brad, 60 miles an hour.
Can you do 60?
Oh yeah.
I don't have a good gauge on shots.
It's funny. We were rapid shot at work broke yesterday, so I had to test it so I can confirm my snapshots over 60 with a bad shoulder.
Brad's snapshot is actually super impressive. First time I got on the ice with Brad, he just casually stepped over the blue line and just snapped one bar down. I looked at him and was like, I was never actually expecting you to be good. With how much you talked about it, I thought for sure you sucked.
Yeah, no, I do suck. Wait till you got to see me in gameplay, buddy. I'm just lost out there. But so yeah, my dream is to get lapped by Connor McDavid. This is all I want in my life.
I have to finish this coffee. It's gonna be a problem.
That's the only change the All-Star game I can think of off the top of my
head. Just get your average Joes out there. I volunteer if the NHL has nobody who wants to get embarrassed on national TV. I pledge his tribute.
If it has to be a celebrity group, let's say one bench is the NHL All-Stars, the other one is celebrities, and the celebrities are like, we'll send out Kevin Hart as our fastest skater. It's stupid, but people who are Kevin Hart fans will watch, and it's entertaining. Nobody cares.
Get John Hamm to coach as Don Draper from Mad Men.
There you go. Done. He can be the celebrity coach this year. I don't care. Just do something that's interesting.
As funny, like as sarcastic as it is, it's not wrong though, because if you're someone who's never watched hockey and for some reason you're tuning into the skills competition, so from this whole marketing standpoint, it doesn't look impressive when Connor McDavid beats a guy by a second. They're like, it's a second. Who cares? He wasn't going that. And like all you hockey fans are freaking about how Connor McDavid's the fastest kid alive. He barely won because they don't understand that little of a difference in that amount of space is insane. But if you put Connor McDavid out there against Kevin Hart and he beats him by 27 minutes, then people might get it.
Yeah, because Connor McDavid's skating around the ice by himself in like a vacuum, basically. So you don't really get an idea of how fast he actually is unless you watch hockey, which most people don't.
Put him out there against an actual speed skater for reference. Like,
yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Like, do it. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't name a single famous speed skater, but pick the guy who won the gold at the Olympics.
Charles Hamlin was his name?
Charles Hamelin. There we go.
Yeah.
Put him out there against Connor McDavid, and if that race is even close, people are going to be like, oh my God, this guy in all his hockey gear is keeping up with a dude whose literal job it is to skate
He
fast.
looks like sexy Flanders in his ski outfit.
Yes.
I don't know. Something. Please just do something.
Last quick hit, Barrett Hayton, after getting drubbed 6-0 by Russia in the same game that Lafreniere went down in, while they had the Russian national anthem on, he intentionally left his helmet on to a lot of people's displeasure. He was obviously heated about the loss. Barrett Hayton is Canada's captain and Arizona Coyotes draft pick. He went 4th overall in the Zadina draft, so for context there.
5th overall. He's the reason we have Zadina.
5th, yeah. Brady Tkachuk went 4th overall, that's right. He came out and issued an apology afterwards. Fine. You know, he's a kid. He got heated. He made a stupid mistake. He apologized. I don't think we need to, blow this up anymore. A lot of people are saying, well, if this wasn't a Canadian, he'd be taking a lot more heat. Yeah, probably. But I don't think, he's a kid. He made a stupid mistake. This is just like,
What's his name through the metal?
yeah, the Swedish guy.
Elias Anderson.
Yeah.
Who's also demanded a trade, by the way.
Yeah, we talked about that. Come on, Brad.
Oh, God.
You think you
Just catch up, man.
You think I listened?
Oh, we don't think that.
No, you know what? The first episode, the other episode where you were sick, like Evan and I were just completely not expecting you to be there, or like we weren't expecting you to not be there, so we were both caught off guard, and we had to like push through that episode. I feel
True.
The Muzzin episode, man,
Purple Heart effort.
jeez, yeah, we don't need you.
Yeah, I was so angry that one was one I had to miss because I was ready to just piss off every Leaf fan that listens to us. I was ready.
Evan was like the most reasonable voice in the
And I
hockey
was
world.
right.
Yeah. Why are you booing me? I'm right.
I was right.
It was funny too because when you and Steve were texting in our group chat that night too, like I was literally getting the messages as I was holding Mika's hair back over the toilet, going, "Yeah, this is not ideal."
Why is everyone in your house constantly vomiting?
Because I have 2 kids and it's Christmas.
She'll be well prepared for
They've
college.
been around nothing but people and junk food for 2 weeks.
Oh, she's ready for college then.
And with that, we're going to head over to Overtime, which on this episode of the Winged Wheel Podcast is brought to you by Motor City Garages. They're a family-owned and operated business servicing Metro Detroit. They do everything from garage flooring, cabinets, overhead racks, wall storage, playing Shake That Ass For Me from Moritz Seider, and everything to do with your car. Enough of the messy garages everyone is sick of walking through. It's time to turn it into something useful. Whether you like to work on your car or if you like an organized space, we have you covered. 3D designs and a lifetime warranty. Motor City Garages, park in style. We're going to start with Patreon, where our patrons get their comments read out. We missed you guys with our holiday break, so welcome back. We are going to start with Haroon Khan says, "Hey guys, I was wondering if there's any chance of Franzen making a return." No, God no. He is. If Franzen's concussion and brain injuries are so bad that if he takes another hit, he may die. He's done.
What was the question, sorry?
He was wondering if Franzen would ever return.
No.
Was watching some old videos of the Red Wings, and man, brought a lot of good memories back. Also, what if Detroit swapped Elias Anderson and Michael Rasmussen / Evgeny Svechnikov?
Sure, I don't care. These are all, we're talking about 3rd, 4th line players here as Ryan goes limp.
Oh, no. Also, how long is this rebuild going to be for? This is actually hard sometimes. Thanks, guys, and let's go Red Wings.
Longer than we care to admit.
We're not even over the hump.
No.
We might just be on the incline.
This might be the apex now with how bad this season's, to be fair.
This might be rock bottom, but it's not a sharp curve up and down.
Well, okay, so if this is if you look at it as symmetrical, how long have we been in this? If this is the apex, we got that much longer on the way out.
Yeah. Granted, it's not perfectly linear. Different things can happen.
Oh yeah.
And if those things TM are going to happen, Yzerman is the guy to do it.
Still don't have a goalie.
If the Red Wings are in the playoffs, not next season, but the season after, I would still be surprised.
Yes.
I don't like saying that out loud because people get super disengaged when I say it. Peter Ploshansky says, "Hey boys, do you guys know much about Cole Perfetti? Never really hear about him. His stats are extremely close to Byfield and he's ranked as the number 2 center behind him. I know he's recently cut from Team Canada. If we draft at 4, would you be all right with Perfetti at 4?
Would I be all right with it? Yeah, he's a good player. Not my pick there personally, but Perfetti's got one advantage on Byfield in that he plays on a better team, so he gets a little more help. Perfetti's one of those guys. This is going to be the Cole Caulfield debate all over again, although I don't think Perfetti's as dynamic as Caulfield. But hey, undersized guys named Cole who score goals.
Is Marco Rossi also a good comparison for that?
Completely different style of player, but yeah.
No, but small guy
who's there. Rossi has the disadvantage of being a year older. He's a late birthday.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
I know that.
No, Perfetti's going to be this year's Cole Caulfield, where you're going to see some people ranking him as high as 3 or 4, other people in the mid-teens. It's going to happen.
He's going to be some teams like their guy at the draft. I think.
Yeah. Well, Caulfield got to 15, so I'd be shocked if Perfetti made it out of the top 10. But I said the same thing about Caulfield, so here we are.
John Evans says, "Hello, gentlemen. Greetings from Ohio. Congratulations on your loss last night. Watching the game right now and wondering, has Greg Krupa ever been on the podcast? Seems like a very cool guy that loves engaging with fans. Could be fun. We love Greg. He's a friend of us, but I think he told us for contractual reasons with his employer, he can't show up on the show. Mm-hmm. The moment that's not the case, we're obviously going to have Greg on. We love him. Outside of hockey, anyone, Evan, have thoughts on Jedi Fallen Order? I was skeptical at first, but I've not been disappointed.
I have not played it, and I've heard good and bad. I have a friend who really is into that style of game, and he really liked it. But I've heard other people, since it's EA, it's the very easy picking to just shit on it.
I haven't played it. I have not had the time, but my friend who has loved it. I also liked Battlefront 2, and I think it's been getting better.
That has drastically improved, and I actually looked at picking that up. But once again, I don't like to support the big publishers.
Which is why you play League.
Is why I play World of Warcraft. Yeah, I don't like supporting the big companies. I've heard it's good. I don't know.
Arjun Shankar says, Nielsen just scored his first of the season shorthanded, so basically what the FERC. Edit, Panthers answered immediately, LMAO, even when good things happen, it's never fun for long. The life of a Red Wings fan. Courtesy of Arjun. Dylan Krill says, "Hey guys, I haven't heard much about Veleno and his progress this year, so I'm really excited for his role with Team Canada in the World Juniors. I've noticed he's very defensive and plays a lot on the PK. Also, he's been great at faceoffs. What do you guys think his potential is?"
Who?
2-3C.
Yeah. If you guys want like ceiling, like everything goes well, this guy's a good 2C. Like that's
he seems kind of like a workhorse centerman.
Well, that's the thing. They saw his defensive potential, but he wasn't exactly displaying him. And in a year, they made him fill out that part of his game, and he's done it super well.
Darren Helm with more offensive touch,
which is a fantastic player. Liz B says, "Would you guys rather attend a concert where the people performing are doing 90 songs, but it's done by a group of yodelers who are very bad at yodeling, and the concert is 5 hours long, and you have to stay sober, no using earplugs, and no leaving early?"
I'm just gonna say no. I don't even care.
I was up for that until it said bad yodelers.
Or see the Wings play in Chicago. Detroit loses 15-2, only gets 15 shots all in the first period. And the concert, no drinking, no earplugs for the terrible goal song, and you have to remain sober.
I'll take hockey.
I'll take the yodelers.
I'll take hockey because I can laugh at my own pain. I think that's the only way to get through life. But it's close.
I can't take Hawks fans. Because they didn't exist 15 years ago.
Man, Nick told us the way to pronounce his name last episode. I already forgot. Nick Toyas. Sorry. I think it was you who told me, and I'm so sorry.
Toyota Corolla.
I have to start keeping a list. Good day, gents. I've been pondering this recently. Florida has Bob locked down long-term, and Knight is going to be ready sooner than later. How do you think this plays out? Could Knight even bide his time at BU and then test free agency in the college free agency window? No, he's property of... Florida, unless he does that thing where he refuses to
sign and just ride out the full 4 years. But I can't see him doing that. He'll want to go pro before that. And
I think that loophole will be corrected in the next CBA before he even has a chance.
Yeah. Anyways, how I see it playing long term is I'm pretty certain in 3 to 5 years we're going to see a big trade controversy of Florida figuring out how they can unload Bobrovsky.
I'm also very interested in what the Rangers are going to do with Lundqvist, Georgiev, and who's the other guy?
Shesterkin.
Shesterkin is Sorokin. I always get the wrong one.
Sorokin is New York, and Shesterkin is also New York.
You're a piece of shit.
This is why I don't know what's happening.
This is why Evan and I bully you.
Sorokin,
and that's more of a now issue because isn't Lundqvist's contract up very soon?
After next season, I think. Yeah,
so they have to make a very soon decision on what to do, and we should be standing there licking our lips.
Yeah, I would be looking hard at Georgiev, or I don't think the Rangers are going to give up Shesterkin. Sorokin is New York with orange.
God,
okay,
which one's that?
Fuck's sake.
Joseph Fournier says, do existence is paint. Boop friggity do. Before sending to the next round of Athanasiou 1-for-1 trade game, just want to note that the only player the majority of you said that you would trade Athanasiou straight up for and trade said player to Detroit for Athanasiou is, can you guess it?
No.
Vitaly Kravtsov.
Okay.
Note that I'm not advocating one way or the other as to whether he should be traded, no matter how many times I watch him hang out between the blue line and the face-off circles waiting for the lead pass while he watches his teammates scramble to prevent an inevitable goal. Dude's got no D. In this next phase, we're going to open this up a bit. Now that you've accumulated this massive knowledge about trade equivalents, here's the next round. What are the most ideal trades for Athanasiou that you can think of? Come up with as many as you can, no limit. Have fun with it. Brad, you had a good one a few episodes ago of Tyson Jost and Connor Timmins for Athanasiou. Any combination of players, picks, prospects, it's all open season. And yes, Evan, you have to come up with at least one if you're there. If not, then the podcast collective, nice, per 69s will be sorely lacking.
Okay, so we got to think of a team that would actually have a legitimate need and interest for Athanasiou, and then we would have to pluck their system as best we could, and would have to make it somewhat realistic. So Andreas Athanasiou and Gustav Lindstrom for Evan Bouchard.
Oh, yeah, 100% I'd do that.
And Lindstrom was a Holland guy, so maybe they'd actually be crazy enough to do it.
Here's my thing. I'm bad at this because I think there's a trade to be had with every team, especially if we're looking at this as Red Wings fans and we know Athanasiou's talent better than anyone. It's hard for me to give specifics. Edmonton's first. You know, I'm just looking for draft picks here. Prospects like, Evan Bouchard would be great to trade for. Are there any other defensive prospects?
Andreas Athanasiou to the Calgary Flames for Oliver Shellington and Guy.
Would you be okay with Athanasiou for Shellington straight up?
No.
I'd be okay for Athanasiou and Peace for Shellington and second, or Shellington and
Dylan Dubé.
Pretty much, if it's not a defensive prospect who's not like Heiskanen level, because obviously that'll never happen, I just want first round picks or a good haul. If Tatar can get a 1, 2, 3 pick, or a first, a second, and a third, then that's what I want. Evan, you have to do at least one. Them's the rules.
Maybe a slightly more obscure. If we're going to do something, I think Montreal would be a good fit for him. And we will do Athanasiou for their second. And they have a prospect on the Russian team defense, Romanov.
Yeah.
He looks really good.
There is zero chance Montreal will give that up. So I
know.
like where you're at.
Yeah. The other one is another Russian defenseman, Zamuli, plays for Philly, or he's a Philly pick. Zamula, whatever his name is. I'm really struggling with the Russian names today.
No, they're hard.
Just okay, so just to have the most complicated trade ever, because he's a Flames prospect. Athanasiou for Shellington and Dmitry Zavgorodny.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even going to try that.
Mickey retires.
Those are the two I can think of off the top of my head.
Joseph goes on to say, my friends have had a lot of life thrown at me in a short amount of time here. Holidays are always tough and got even tougher. Just a quick friendly reminder to hug your friends and hold those close to you dear. As always, stay fresh, cheese bags, and Mike Babcock can still go fist himself. I was getting ready to say something like, we're here for you, pal, and you're part of the Dub family, but thanks for closing out with some levity. Rowan says, good day, Duds. Brian, Josh Allen's much, much worse twin, and cut price Shea Weber. Before we get into the hockeys, we need to recognize that this week you lost a listener. Oh, did you guys see that on Twitter?
No.
I tweeted from the podcast account.
I think I saw it, but I can't remember the context of it at all.
That's right. Terry is missing. On the off chance you're hearing this, Terry, please check in, mate. We've been looking for you for days. I really like how the official Dud Dad account made fun of him publicly on the Twitter machine. Well done. This guy responded to like a tweet, like an episode tweet, like here's the episode, blah, 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 like that. Like,
let me see if I can. Oh, there it is. Is this a hockey podcast or a TV movie podcast? ...
And
hockey podcast, but you'll find plenty of listeners who tell you it's a food program.
Because I thought that was.
And then he replied, "Just lost a listener."
I guess he was like.
And then he replied, ... Were you expecting a TV movie podcast?
I was like, what made you?
Oh, and then a bunch of people started the hashtag, "Oh fuck, we lost Terry." Oh my god.
Terry, come back.
The Dub Mafia kind of went after him a little bit, but it's funny. Well, thoughts and prayers to Terry.
I'm sure you saw hashtag elite mentor Darren Helm make a slick play to get Zadina the puck, then helped him out even more, going top shelf on a breakaway after the Zadina pass that was never in doubt to get Zadina another point. That hashtag leadership, fellas. I barely saw Larkin even play with Zadina. Pathetic. Anyways, my questions are, when will Yzerman give hashtag German Lidstrom the C, and who else on Team Germany should we draft apart from Tim Stuttgart?
I liked Peturka.
JJ Peturka legitimately should be a strong candidate for the Red Wings to pick at pick 32.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, not even funny.
He'll be, from the look, if he doesn't, do anything else and stays a little under the radar, he is definitely like a late first round, second round guy, and he looks really good. Really good.
He's going to be the pick we make somewhere in the range of Athanasiou trade pick and 32.
Yes.
Lucas Reichel, also a second round candidate with one of the, who's Washington's second rounder do we hold there?
Yeah, let me look that up.
Like there's not a very unrealistic scenario where with the Red Wings' first 3 picks, they draft 3 Germans.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Oh man.
We could like Stützle at 4.
Yeah, San Jose.
Peturka at 32, and then Reichel with whatever and then second round we hold.
We reunite the Svechnikov brothers and get Dominic Bach.
Oh, we'd have to give up for that.
Washington's second.
Just a Svechnikov. That's all they want. It's all about a marketing ploy.
Washington second, San Jose's third.
Okay, so with Washington second, which great is looking like it's going to be pick freaking 62 right now.
Jersey time. No, I don't know where to get an official Team Germany jersey. Sorry.
They are sweet.
Yeah, but people could always email the German national team website store. Which one do you prefer, the black or the white?
I think I like the whites better.
The whites, I love them both. I think the whites are just so sharp.
I like black jerseys.
I love black jerseys. If you're going to get a black
Team Canada's black jersey,
those are hot.
That does things.
He closes out by saying, Bleib frisch Kassaboodle. Yeah, that's what you think it is. Stay fresh, cheese bags.
I don't think it. What do you think of?
Stay fresh cheese bags. Because he said it at the end of the post. Oh. Chris Smith says, I saw something interesting in the Canada versus U.S. game, and I was wondering what your thoughts were. The final minute plus of the game when the U.S. pulled a goalie, Veleno was out with Lafreniere and Dellandrea. I don't think I've ever looked closely at his defensive game, but do you think he was out there because he's a future Selke winner or because of his age experience, seeing how he is one of, I believe, that just 2 forwards that have played above junior hockey?
Both.
His defensive game has been a focus of his, and so it has gotten substantially better. And B, yes, he has played in the AHL, so he would be more effective in that scenario. You can put someone who's played in the AHL but doesn't play defense at all in that scenario, and they would still suck. But know that it's a little bit of column A and column B there. I'm sure you guys will talk a lot about our prospects playing well in the tournament, so I'll ask a left field question. Does anyone else think Steve Ott could be a good potential head coach? I don't know if he's on any radars, but
I'm not allowed to answer this question, am I? Whatever I say is purely biased.
Yeah, you just want those tickets.
Yeah. He owes me.
For those of you who don't remember the Steve Ott Evans story, because that's a couple of years ago now, we'll tell that in a future episode. He's an assistant coach right now for St. Louis, for those of you who don't know. I don't know if he's on any radars, but I'll state my case for liking the idea of him. He loves the winged wheel. He seems to be well liked in the Blues organization since he was not axed with Mike Yeo, and he's learning from a pretty good coach right now. Maybe I just like the guy, but I don't think I'd be too upset if we took a flyer on him, especially because we seem pretty far off from competing. Yeah, you know what? That is pretty left field, but it's a cool consideration. My only hesitation is that he just started as an assistant coach last year, was it? Or the year prior?
Yeah, it's not very long.
And you'd want a little bit more coaching experience than that. But that being said, it's not like it couldn't be successful. So if he interviews and, Yzerman likes him, then if he makes that selection, then
there's certainly other coaches with pedigree that I would prefer over him.
But I would definitely prefer him over at least one coach currently employed in the NHL.
With that, Garrett TV says, Hockey Amigos, I'm back with a few extra holiday days to get some more solid leads on why Jim Montgomery was canned. Before he goes, Jim Montgomery says, see you next year on December 31st.
Oh, that is bad.
Yeah. Why did Jim Montgomery get fired?
Jim Montgomery got fired because he double dipped the shrimp at Christmas.
Who doesn't eat shrimp in one bite?
Jim Montgomery.
That's disgusting.
That's bad.
Jim Montgomery personally attacks teenagers on Twitter when they wear their helmet during the Russian national anthem.
Jim Montgomery selects Odd Job even when he promised not to.
Oh, Odd Job Rockets. Oh, yeah. You're sick.
Jim Montgomery got fired because he thought this was a TV and movie podcast.
Oh, fuck, we lost Terry.
Oh, fuck, we lost Jim.
Garrett TV says, number 1, thought Diet Dr. Pepper tastes nothing like regular Dr. Pepper. Number 2, chose to keep his helmet on during the Russian national anthem. Hey, look.
Oh, I said that.
Look. That was me. That's you. Number 3, put all his cash bills in his wallet out of order and facing different directions. Oh. Number 4, ordered his Tim Hortons coffee with 5 creams and 6 sugars.
Oh, I got one. Jim Montgomery got fired because he ordered something other than a donut or a fucking coffee in the Tim Hortons drive-thru.
Jim Montgomery got fired because he took a full shopping cart to the self-serve checkout. There's a special place in hell.
That's a material act of unprofessionalism if I've ever heard.
And it was all vegetables. So he's just swiping codes all day.
Still too early to tell, so I'll keep digging. Sticks on the ice, boys. Looking forward to another big year from the Dub. Let's go Red Wings. We have time for a couple of questions.
How did we make such a serious thing?
You know what? If you're not going to give us, if nobody's going to leak it, then we're going to have fun with it. If you want us to stop, tell us the truth. Darren Fox on Reddit says, do you think Datsuk or Zetterberg will make the Hall of Fame? It seems that not many people outside of Detroit remember how good they were. People will look at trophies and All-Star Game appearances and will put them in the same group as Jamie Benn and Corey Perry.
No, Datsuk's for sure. Zetterberg's a likely.
Guy Carbonneau going in made me think that Zetterberg will make it one day. I think Datsuk will be
first ballot. I don't care what anybody says.
If he's not first ballot, he'll be second, and I would yell from the rooftops that he should be first. I put out I was freaking half drunk when I made the tweet. It was that stupid, bunny holding a sign on Twitter saying all of your, best of the decade lists are missing Pavel Datsuk. I understand if you disagree with that take, as his prime was obviously in the previous decade. But man, a lot of people on the internet really don't remember how good Pavel Datsuk was in it.
Wasn't there one there was, I don't know who, maybe a guy, I hate to say it, but I think maybe it was ESPN. Their top players of the decade and didn't have Patrick Kane.
Yeah.
Who led the decade in scoring?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
What do you think NBC would? All they play are Hawks games.
And with that, folks, we're going to close out 2019 with the Winged Wheel podcast. With better planning, we would have had a better message and, maybe a recap for you. But guys, it's been an amazing year. Not for hockey, but for this podcast, and doing this show only happens because of you. And I can tell you that without doing this, it'd be much harder to be a Red Wings fan right now. So thank you all. The solidarity and fun that we've had together is a treat. And this has been an incredible year for the show. And here's to an even better 2020. with the Dub family, the Dub Mafia, as Evan called it. With that, we'd like to thank our name level sponsors on Patreon. I Hate Poutine and the Lions, Scott Martin, Luke Johnson, Mitchell Shinkowski, Arjun Shankar, Hassam Al-Qassem, Clayton Van Dyken, Mike Reed, Aaron Taylor, Langabir, Matthew M. Rice, Kayla Thompson, Ryan Lewis, Sean Levine, Matt McKay, Hannah Lee, Kaylin Wood, Jacob Turner, Charlie Elkins, John Evans, Rob Thiel, Craig Kibble, Stan Olson, Ryan Lewis, Danny Jr., Kay Waz, and Simon Anderson. Thank you all so much. Guys, have a safe and happy new year, and we will see you in 2020.
Thanks for tuning in to the Winged Wheel Podcast. Be sure to check out wingedwheelpodcast.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll also find links to other ways to support the show, such as Patreon, official podcast apparel, and more. And don't forget to follow the show on Twitter at Winged Wheel Pod. And of course, the hosts at Brad Crisco, at Ryan Hanna WWP, and at Hockey Town Evan.